This is the story of Brian Blackwell. On July the 25th, 2004, Brian attacked his parents and stabbed them both. In this video, I will give you the facts of everything that happened, and then I'll give you my opinion. What I think will be interesting for you to know was that Brian was found guilty and he was sentenced to life. However, he's been released on parole. How many people, or cases, or crimes have you heard where a murder has been taking place, the criminal has been found guilty, but then has been paroled? In most of these occasions, they get released because of an unfair trial or it wasn't them. Another reason why I'm making this video is my favorite band, Block Party, have a song. And in this song, which is called 2 More Years, they make this statement: you don't need answers for questions never asked of you. See, in this story, I think expectation was the motivation for Brian. And I believe that expectations can be premeditated resentments in regards to a relationship. That's the context. But it'll make more sense to you as the story goes along. So I'm going to read out a couple of newspaper articles that I found. If you do end up liking this video, please subscribe. And if you would like to talk to me directly, please join my Discord. It's a fantastic community. Brian was an academically gifted public schoolboy, and he was nicknamed the Brains by his devoted elderly parents. When he was jailed for life on the 29th of June 2005, after he admitted killing them before using their credit cards in a £30,000 spending spree with his girlfriend. Brian, who was 19 at the time, bludgeoned the couple to death, then left their bodies to rot in the family home while he embarked on a 6-week trip around the United States and the Caribbean with his girlfriend, Amal Saba. Blackwell's actions were driven by obsessive fantasies of unlimited success and power, a symptom of his narcissistic personality disorder. And in court, he pleaded guilty to double manslaughter on the grounds of diminished responsibility. His father, Sidney Blackwell, who was 72 at the time, and his mother, Jacqueline, who was 61, who was an antiques dealer, were found dead at their £350,000 bungalow in the village of Melling in Merseyside. They had been beaten with a claw hammer and stabbed up to 50 times with a kitchen knife. It is thought Mr. Blackwell was sitting down when the attack began and had tried to reach a window before being felled by repeated blows. Blackwell wept in the dock of Liverpool Crown Court as his lawyer read out a statement which expressed his remorse. In it, he said that he missed his parents more than anything in the world. He added, "The guilt will punish and haunt me for 24 hours a day for the rest of my life." He had been charged with murder, but prosecutors accepted his manslaughter pleas after 5 experts said he was suffering from a disorder. Now, police are still not clear about the sequence of events that led him to kill his parents, but David Steyer, who was the prosecutor, told the court that his killing rage is likely to have been prompted by their discovering his travel plans and thwarting them. A feature of narcissistic personality disorder is for sufferers to fly into a rage if their fantasy world is threatened. The murders took place on the 25th of July 2004, the day before Blackwell was due to fly to the US with Miss Saba for a holiday. He spent the night with his girlfriend before taking her to the US on a trip that began with a £2,200 a night, 3-night stay in the presidential suite of the Plaza Hotel in New York. He had told her he was Britain's #1 ranked junior tennis player and that he had received £70,000 sponsorship from Nike. The couple returned home on the 12th of August and Blackwell stayed with Miss Saba's family in Childwell, Liverpool. But on Sunday the 5th of September, this is 2004, the decomposed bodies of Mr. and Mrs. Blackwell, who were often away from home, were discovered. Hours later, detectives arrested Blackwell, who had spent most of his summer living with his girlfriend. He first told police that he had been unable to enter his home and believed that his parents were away on holiday. Blackwell initially denied the murders, and police reported that he believed himself capable of outsmarting the charge. One of the policemen said, "He was growing in confidence with the police. He felt that perhaps he could outwit us in the long term." While sentencing Brian, Mr. Justice Royce, who was the judge, said he had shown breathtaking callousness in his chilling crime. He said he had taken into account that Blackwell's condition was untreatable and was likely to continue throughout his life. Ms. Saba attended the sentencing. She declined to discuss the case, but released a statement describing her enormous shock at discovering out what her former boyfriend does. Now let's have a look at his girlfriend. Let's go back to their trip to America. Amal Saba could not quite believe her good fortune. Ahead lay a luxurious weekend in the presidential suite of the Plaza Hotel in Manhattan with her glamorous new boyfriend. Brian Blackwell said he was a professional tennis player and had written her a check for £39,000, half her new salary as his manager. Before their £30,000 trip came to a close, they would taste the high life in Miami, Barbados, and San Francisco, yet Blackwell was living a lie. As the couple moved from one luxury suite to another, the bodies of Blackwell's elderly parents lay undisturbed in their £350,000 home. The day before the young couple's departure, Blackwell, a brilliant student known as the Brains, had been hanging pictures in his bedroom. When his parents returned from an evening meal, an argument broke out with his father and Blackwell beat him to death with the hammer. He then stabbed his mother between 20 and 30 times and left their body in the bath. Blackwell had spun a Walter Mitty-style fantasy in which he claimed to be a tennis player about to hit the big time with a £70,000 sponsorship deal and a place in the French Open. He had applied for 13 credit cards using false information. A quick side note, I do wonder how his girlfriend fell for this. I mean, it's 2004, the internet is there, you can just check who's playing in the French Open. It's not long after that Nadal and Federer came along. I know some of you may not watch tennis, but if someone tells you, hey, I'm a famous sports person, you're going to Google them, right? Anyway, there was little in Blackwell's background to foreshadow such horror. He grew up a quiet, bookish boy with a passion for science, who his parents insisted was destined to be not just a doctor, but a surgeon. He attended Scarisbrick Brick Hall, a private school in the Lancashire countryside, but was moved in 1998 to Liverpool College, which was another private school, costing £7,000 per year. During his final year, he began dating Amal, the 18-year-old daughter of a respected medical family, and both applied to read medicine at Nottingham University. In March 2004, he visited a Mercedes showroom to test drive a £60,000 sports car. The following month, he wrote Miss Saba a cheque for £39,000 to be his manager, despite having only 9 pence in his bank account. In May, he cashed in a £9,000 bond that his parents had invested to pay for his university education. Now, when the couple returned back from New York on the 12th of August, Blackwell stayed with them, and he explained that he was locked out of his house until his parents returned home from Mallorca. He claimed his parents were on vacation. A week later, he returned to Liverpool College to discover that he had achieved A grades in math, chemistry, biology, and Spanish. The results opened the door to study medicine at Nottingham University in October. It was a place he would never fill. On Sunday, the 5th of September, the bodies of Mr. and Mrs. Blackwell were discovered. When police broke down the door, there was so much blood on the walls that at first they suspected the couple had been shot. A few hours later, Blackwell was arrested at Miss Saba's parents' home, where police discovered the rubber grip of a hammer and handle of a knife in his sports bag. Shocked neighbors painted a picture of a young boy who had a strict upbringing and had huge expectations heaped on his shoulders. One of the neighbors said they were a nice family, very private. Brian was very clever. He would play tennis at the local club and study hard. His mother was inclined to be strict with him. Just to touch upon his narcissistic personality disorder, I'm no expert, but sufferers of this disorder have a grandiose sense of self-importance and entitlement and can fly into a rage if that sense is challenged. They are manipulative, confrontational, show a lack of empathy, and are preoccupied with success, power, brilliance, ideal love, and beauty. Many psychologists have said that many psychopaths have narcissistic traits, and you most often see narcissistic personality disorder when treating psychopaths. So on the 29th of June 2005, Blackwell was sentenced to life imprisonment. Now at that time, Blackwell could have been eligible for parole after serving just over 5.5 years if a psychiatrist decided he was fit for release. And at that time, the judge said, present evidence suggests that the conclusion is unlikely ever to be reached. However, in 2016, after an oral parole hearing, the parole board granted Blackwell's release. Now, my conclusion on this case is I'll go back to what I said earlier, expectations. Again, I'm no psychiatrist, psychologist, I'm no expert, so I can't really talk on the narcissistic personality disorder. I'm not even sure if I quite understand what that is. I'm being truly honest with you. But when I look at Brian and when I look at what he did, I think when he met Amal, he was so smitten, right? He didn't have the confidence where he thought, yeah, I am good enough for her. So he decided that he needed to make grand gestures to keep her. He thought she expected high things of him, and he took that to a whole new level. I might be wrong, of course, but I do hope you understand where I'm coming from. See, when you meet a girl and she likes you and you like her, insecurities kick in. You question, do they like me? Are they gonna text me back? Will they call me? Is this actually gonna work out? These are all normal feelings. And I think for Brian, because he lacked any kind of backbone in himself, and because he didn't believe that he was a good person himself. I mean, I'm not saying he's good, but at that time, if he is to be this, arrogant person who thought, he was God's gift to the world, which is what some people made out to be, then he should have had the confidence to tell her, be with me or not, rather than having to steal all this money and pretend he's some tennis player when in reality he's an academic whiz. Even with all this going on, he passed all his exams, no problem. This guy was going to make bank regardless of he was a tennis player or not. But perhaps of his strict upbringing and the expectation of his parents, which were a big burden on him, perhaps he always felt like he had to prove himself to people. Perhaps he felt with Amal that he was not worthy, so he's gonna prove his worth. And again, you can disagree, I respect it, but I do hope you understand where I'm coming from. I couldn't find any information on where Brian is now, but I think Brian is the first person, unless I'm forgetting, that I can think of whom committed a murder, served the time, and now he's out in public. And if he is, then, well, all we have to do is trust the system because he's gone through the process and he's come out on the other end. And if he is rehabilitated and we don't know where he is, maybe that's a good sign. Because if we know where he is right now, it's probably because he's done something wrong. Why don't you guys comment? Tell me what you think. Thanks for watching.